Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we shine the light and talk with business leaders from all over the world who are here sharing their expertise and wisdom so we can all grow together. I'm your host, Heidi Schalk, co-founder of HLH Growth Solutions, where we help businesses scale through strategic visibility and automation systems. If you're new to the podcast, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you here with us. And I'd like to introduce my special guest today. I'm excited to talk with him, Justin Boyhum with the Charge Forward. So welcome, Justin, to the show.
Thanks, Heidi, for having me. And listen, I've been looking at your podcast and the kinds of messages that you're putting out there and putting the spotlight as you would on other entrepreneurs and the amazing they put out there. So it's an honor to be here, and I love what you're all about as well.
Well, thank you for being here. As we're recording, it's a Friday afternoon, so I'm grateful that you took time out of your Friday to be here. Justin, I'm just going to give everybody a little intro on you, a little behind the scenes, and then we'll dive right in. So Justin Boyhum is a U.S. Army veteran, certified high performance coach, and founder of Charge Forward. He helps entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and service-based businesses generate consistent growth through LinkedIn relationship marketing and strategic partnerships without relying on ads, cold calling, or complicated funnels. After years of building businesses through referrals, events, and collaborations, Justin developed the Force Multiplier approach, which is a system designed to create qualified conversations, referral opportunities, and revenue generating partnerships by leveraging existing networks and audiences. Today, he teaches business owners how to turn LinkedIn into a conversation engine and build strategic alliances that accelerate growth, increase visibility, and create new revenue streams through collaboration instead of competition. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because lately I've been talking to some, and I know some of the business owners that I've had on the show recently, Justin, have had some changes in their LinkedIn visibility and marketing strategy. So I'm looking forward to diving in with you about this. So can you tell us, you gave us background in your bio, but can you share with us what inspired you to helping leaders and organizations move forward and grow with purpose and clarity?
Yeah, if I were to give it in a nutshell, again, coming out of the military, making that transition as many veterans had, and again, kudos for any veterans that are watching this. It was kind of a different beast being in corporate America or being in the private sector, as we would call it in the military, as opposed to being active. And I bounced around corporate for a few years. This would have been back in, I think I got separated from active duty back in 2013, and super gung ho, had lots of leadership experience, lots of skills that I had gathered. I'm going like, I'm going to go take it by storm. I'm going to be the CEO of a company someday, work my way up there, and then just not very fulfilled with that. But after a few years, just looking for something that was more meaningful to me, I got into the coaching industry, having gone to a seminar, kind of learning for this. This is where I connected with people like Brendan Burchard, and then eventually Eileen Wilder. For those who haven't seen them, and like learning about like online business and how to help people be the better version of themselves. But honestly, the thing that really blew me away was like I would go to these events working on development and see people jumping up and down for like learning how to like be organized or how to wake up and have a routine. And it's like I was in the military, like I knew all this stuff. And if this would help other people, like I knew I could do that, and I could see the way it was changing lives. So I decided to go into business for myself. This would have been in, late 2017, early 2018. And, wake up call, as most of us would decide to, hang our own shingle, is that I learned that it's not just the skill set that, and the secret sauce that you have. It's having to learn how to have all the things of a business, right? To market yourself, how to make sales, how to, track delivery and all these other things. And so that was certainly, a challenge for me. And I remember it would have been right during the onset of COVID. And because I used to get all of my business by going to places and literally meeting people. So even though this would have been 2020, I really didn't do a lot online, and I still probably don't do a lot online. So I'm happy to share more of that. But I remember like suddenly like the entire way that I could get business was taken away from me. And for better or worse, obviously silver lining, as you can imagine, this the way that the story is going to go. So I was struggling to be able to market what I did as a high performance coach at the time. And I remember a mentor of mine just saying, "Hey, coaching is really difficult for people to get. And honestly, when something's really as valuable as what you do, people need to experience like a transformation from that." And so he told me, "Why don't you go and do a virtual experience? So use Zoom, right? And we're all on Zoom now, but at the time it was still kind of new to a lot of people. Um, and so I just gave away everything as I didn't know what else to talk about. So I was like, I'm just going to do my coaching program, but I did it over 2 full days on Zoom. And I invited everybody I could find. I managed to get 11 people to participate in it. 3 of them were my friends. I was like, please come to this. don't don't leave me hanging. I'll come and pretend like you love this, right? Or end of that experience of 2 full days, I don't think I even made a presentation of something for them to buy from me. I just said, hey, I hope that you loved this. And at the end of that, 6 of the 8 new people to me ended up working with me, within a week, like they decided to hire me for the coaching program. And so it was just like, oh man, this is a new way of doing it. But the challenge is if I tried to repeat that, I just couldn't get people to come. I was like, they just like, I couldn't market myself enough. I'm not a super influencer. If you go watch me on socials, like I'm fairly sporadic in the way and the things that I share things, but I know how to help people. And this is where the shift for me was. The challenge was, and this is what I learned, and this is what my mentor finally helped me to realize. And it's something that I knew from the military, and I had forgotten it. And this is just a forgotten principle I think a lot of people have. And I love what you're doing because you're doing a lot of things just like this. It's like I was trying to do everything myself.
Mm.
I was just trying to muscle my way through business and just going to make it happen. And if I worked really hard, right, I could keep the lights on, right? And that was good. And sometimes I'd hit it, have a good month or something. But I could never really repeat the level that I was doing. And so I would be doing these long form half day things for like 2 people and it'd be fine. But it was a lot of effort to make that
Mm.
happen. And so I was like, what do I need to do? Well, I knew tons of people from my networking days when I used to do things all around town in Austin, Texas, where I was from. So I started going to them, and a lot of them had social media presences, not like huge, they'd have like 5,000 Facebook friends, or they'd have 10,000 connections on LinkedIn, or all these other things, or maybe they didn't even have, maybe only 1,000. I just went to all of them and said, hey, I'm putting this together. Do you think you know people who would find this interesting? They're like, yeah, would you help me promote it? And I said, and they were like, okay, sure. And so I just literally just would go live. There's probably some old videos of me not knowing how to speak at all, right? From my with my friends going and in using them to invite people to these workshops that I would do. And like I just started to get way more attention that way. And I could tell other stories. It's again because I had to relearn this position, but now it was like I'm no longer having to be an influencer. I'm just having other people help bring things in. And it's like we are stronger together. When I was in the
Yes.
military, like, yeah, you have squads, but squads are made up of teams, and then you have platoons, and then you have battalions, right? And it goes up and up and up, but we're all cohesive together. And that was really the big shift for me. Because I had to stop going from like trying to be like a commando, right? Like the person who only does everything by themselves, right? To being like, wait a second, there's other people who know the people I need to work with. Why don't I use that bridge and that will help make things easier for us? And so that's really what I discovered over the next few years. And I just started doing more of that. It's like as much as I love to do events and events are a great thing to do, but realistically anything that we're doing, the real path to making that happen is that a lot of people are like, hey, you're one event away or you're one funnel away. It's a popular one years ago. I really think you're really more like one relationship away from
Mm.
having your business take off. And so I've really gone way back into like, hey, the old way we did this is we would go meet people and connect and share business, and that's way more fun to do. And so
Yeah.
instead of having to try to make 10 sales or 100 sales or 1,000 sales, it's like, well, I can go get one partnership that can do right, and then I can repeat that over and over and over again. So anyway, that's the long story short, if you will, of how we got here today, and that's what I've been helping people to do now.
I thank you for sharing all of that, and for taking the time to share your story of hearing the backstory of how people got there. So when people open up and share, when my guests do that, I really appreciate it because it gives us a little background and insight into you as a human and as a person and as building that relationship versus just the company. So what you said some things which I was on a very similar journey. I started off as a business strategy. Well, I did not start off as a business strategy coach. I started off in the coaching space, trying to find my way more in the health and wellness space because that's where I started from 10 years before I even entered the online space because I was a stay-at-home mom for a number of years. So I found myself needing to get into the entrepreneur journey through a divorce. And went through some of the same challenges that you went through. You're helping and you're supporting these people, but at the same time you're rinsing and repeating, and it can get lead to burnout in many ways. And love that you found the way of doing it through relationships. And I used to always say we're better together, because I was a lone wolfer. So I'm a recovering lone wolfer, and
Yeah.
I say recovering lone wolfer and perfectionist. You put those two together, you've got a huge issue happening when it comes to growth.
Mhm.
But I resonate completely with your journey and your story. That being said, growing a business in the online world is a little different too, because doing these events, building those communities are helpful and beneficial. But going back to the basics of, okay, wait a minute, that network is my net worth. That has not changed in the past decades upon decades upon decades. It still matters and still rings true. And how do I create that even though I'm in the online world? And you found that way and leveraging other people's audiences. That's why I love podcasting because you can leverage my audience by being here. And I can leverage your audience by you sharing the episode. And that's building relationship and it's building expansion. And we're both out there supporting our communities. And I'm interested in diving into what your organic growth. But let's do this. Many organizations feel really busy. And I'm sure you felt very busy, but they weren't necessarily making meaningful progress. So, how do you help your clients and your audience distinguish between activity and true forward momentum?
Right. Well, I think the challenge is, and especially in today's online world, is, and this isn't, I guess, necessarily unique to the online world. We focused on different things, but oftentimes when I talk to mostly people who are trying to grow online, and that's really the way that they're selling. It's not always that. Sometimes it can be local, but when it comes to online specifically, let's say social media, and it could be Instagram, it could be TikTok. I tend to use LinkedIn as kind of my preferred platform, but they're all great in their own ways. The challenge that I see a lot of people when they come to me is that they're focused on what I would, like a vanity metric, right? Oh, I don't have a million followers, or I don't
Right.
get a ton of comments on things. And those are well and good. And if you're coming to try to go viral, I'm the wrong person to talk to. Like, that's not my thing. But there are things that we can really do. And this is the military person in me, is that there are things that we can actually focus on. And this kind of stems from things that I learned not from the military, but I can't remember the author's name now. There's a really awesome book called The 12-Week Year that really taught me about the idea of like actual inputs like that we can control versus the outputs that we can't. They would call those lead and lag indicators, right? So think of it in terms of, like, if I wanted to lose weight and like go on a health journey, like the losing weight thing is the thing I don't actually control. I control like my diet, I control my exercise, I control my sleep. And if I do those things, and I know that they will lead to the outputs over time, but sometimes they'll fluctuate up and down. Our bank accounts are the same way. Our social media presence is the same way. There are things that you can control that you focus on, and things that you shouldn't. When it comes to organic growth, like, everybody wants AI to do everything for them these days. And that's the new shiny thing to focus on. And
Yeah.
it's almost like too much. And I'm not anti AI before we used to go down this, because some people have accused me of that. I'm certainly not. And I use AI too, right? What you do need to focus on are the things that are actually going to lead to your success. So when organic growth, it's how many people are you actually truly connecting with? How many people are actually knowing who you are, becoming familiar with you? That's why I was so successful when I was running a small business pre-COVID. I was literally going and meeting people all the time,
all that's what I did. I would probably spend at least 15 hours a day just in events to go meet new people. Not talking drive time, all this other stuff that I had to go do. Right. It was literally, I was just meeting people. And so, yeah, business was really good. And in the online world, we want to like just post and just make it and hope it happens. Like, oh, I'm going to post this thing and it's going to go super awesome. I'm going to do a YouTube video or I'm going to do a podcast episode and everything's just going to happen. No, we need to focus on the things that actually lead to success. And when it comes, and the organic growth is so much fun because you really do have control over like who gets in front of something because we can all just meet people. And that is a principle that I think works in any domain. We're talking in terms of business, but if I were going to go back to a corporate world, right? How many people knew who I was so that I could get the right job, right? If I were going to go into relationships, you'd have to meet a lot of people to go find your potential mate, right? Or whatever you're looking to do. There's all kinds of ways that would go. And I could tell you all kinds of stories. And this is not to promote this, but like this has been going on for thousands of years. You can go back to biblical times, like everybody knows who Jesus was. He had 12 disciples that he met and he sent them out to go meet people in the local areas to go spread that message, right? That's obviously not necessarily for business, but like this is how all of life works. And we just thought we'd go into the digital world and now it's just going to work. Like, no, you have to actually go and be proactive and choose to go meet people. And so if you're going to use technology, it should be doing things to promote that you actually talk to your target market or the people that you can work with, as opposed to hoping somebody likes your post or hoping somebody a link and downloads a lead magnet. And again, those are all great and well things, but like actually talking to people is the principle. And if you do that, you just be surprised at how many people learn to love you because you're probably an awesome person. They get to know you, they start to like you, and then they want to hire you or work with you, right? Because naturally they would. And that's the way how it goes. Like it's not a secret. Know, like, and trust is not a secret anymore. We've written all kinds of books about it. So that's the thing. Go focus on that. And then so that's where organic growth is really a power tool if you're willing to just spend like 10 seconds and a little bit of elbow grease to go do it.
We had mentioned in your when I was introducing you that you have developed what's called the Force Multiplier. So can you walk us through that and tell us more about what that looks like and what that is?
This stems from when I mentioned I was in small business. So I was running a small service-based business in Austin, Texas when I first left corporate. This was before I decided to start my own. And they were an old school, like it's like their business was still running in the 80s. You know, they knew me and I was like, hey, I don't love corporate. And they're like, hey, we need somebody who knows some stuff. You're military, you spent some time in technology companies, like come help us, you know, while you figure it out, you know, let's just grow this business. And they had, you know, trucks and like a fleet, you know, but very small. And I decided to ride with them one day. And this is like things that you're constantly relearning the same lessons. This is like, it took me a couple of years when I got into business by myself just to do this thing. But this is the easiest way I know how to describe it. Is I got in their truck and they literally like they were doing their schedule on a physical notebook. You know, they didn't have any digital tools. This would have been 2016-ish time. And I'm like, man, this is going to take a lot of effort. But one thing I did find, and they were doing really well, but 80% of their business was coming from one place. And they did not do ads. They didn't have like Yellow Book or Yelp or whatever would have been going on at the time. They didn't have any of that. They had one referral source that was sending them all their business. And right after I started working there, that relationship ended. Like it was like within 2 months. And so literally like overnight, 80% of the business gone.
Wow.
Right. And without getting into the details of that, and it's just bad luck on my part. They come to me and they're like, hey, well, you're here to grow. And I know you're still just learning what we do, but like, we've got to fix this or, you know, we can't pay you. And so the average service they were doing was around $500 worth of service. That's just net revenue, not necessarily like factoring costs. It was like $500. And I had to replace about $800,000 worth of revenue, you know, at $500 a pop. And like, you know, I'm only one person. I don't have a sales team. We're not knocking on doors. And so, you know, we're trying to just, you know, go back to people, see if they need a reservice or whatever. And I'm just trying to muscle that through. And I'm doing these numbers and I'm like, man, I got to get like 1,000 of these jobs to replace this. And there's just no way I can do it. So I just started thinking about that source. Like, where was it? Well, he was a home inspector. It was like I throw a rock and hit a home inspector in Austin, Texas, right? Or at least a real estate agent who probably knows one. And so that's what I made my mission. When I was going to stuff, I was like, I'm just going to go meet as many home inspectors as I can and negotiate terms where we could work together. Because the advantage what I found they would have is if they ever needed somebody who did what this company did, they'd have to just go tell them and go find somebody. And so I said, hey, listen, if you'll bring us in on every job that needs this, we'll give your customer a deal, and we'll make sure that we put you priority. Well, I went and found 10 of those to replace this one person, and we did more business, but I just kept doing that over and over again. So imagine, instead of like trying to make 1,000 sales, whatever you're trying to sell, right? What if you could just go get 10 relationships, or even 2 relationships, or be like what was before, one person that's doing most of the work for you, right? No marketing, not a single email sent, not a single social media posts, right? Just straight business coming our way. And that's what I had to relearn for myself when I was running my business. Like, oh, the Force Multiplier Method is, hey, let me go use other people's audiences. Let me go find a way to negotiate deals. And when I go and I actually present that to somebody, now I'm no longer doing, I don't know how you feel about this, Heidi. I'm sorry for anybody who does this or speaks this way. And so for you sales experts that teach sales, I'm sorry. I hate the term prospecting.
Oh,
I don't like it. It just feels icky to me. Like, it feels like, this weird, like, corporate speak to me. I don't know. And so I don't like doing that for making sales, although it's kind of something that you have to do. And if you were just going to be doing that, like, I would say that's a real metric. Go prospect and go reach out and make things happen. But if you're doing that for partnerships, I come to Heidi and I say, Heidi, you're helping this target market achieve this goal. Well, I have this other way that also helps that market. And when they're done working with you, they'll need this thing too. Can I come be the fries? You know what I mean? And then, let me cut you in on that deal. Right. And so that way now it's like found money for you.
right.
I go, hey, Heidi, can I help you make 20% more with your clients? And by the way, they're going to love you because I'm going to solve another problem that you don't have to worry about. You don't have to do any of the delivery. You don't have to do any work. I'll take care of everything. But we'll just go present this to them and see if they would like it, and vice versa, right? If I have that, I can say, hey, I know you're working with us, but you really need to solve this other problem. I can go back to Heidi, and now we have a synergistic relationship, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And when you go and present that, like, everybody's like, well, why wouldn't you do that? How many people have spent all this money on ads and built these email lists and they're not using them because they didn't get the back end that they wanted, or maybe they did, and they want to continue to make it look good. And so this is like an old principle here. And I think it's okay for me. I've been married for almost 20 years now. I can honestly say it's true. Happy wife, happy life. Right. And I love my wife, and we've had a great one. Obviously, we've had just like everybody else, 20 years, right? But in business, happy clients is happy everything. So if you come in saying, hey, I'm going to make you look like a rock star, and I'm going to provide this extra thing. Oh, by the way, you're going to make more money with this, and you don't have to do anything else that you're not already doing, right? Well, that's an easy way to go about it, and it's way, way more fun. And that's what I call being like a force multiplier. It's no longer me, it's no longer this one thing. Instead of making one sale, I make one relationship, and 10,000 sales happen after it, right? That's the beauty of it, and that's kind of on the high end what it looks like. And if I were to crystallize it, I mean, and we can get into that, is that there's just a simple kind of flow of where that goes. And those are the only things you need to track. And if you're only tracking those things, because again, it starts with things that you have 100% control over. Well, you can have an up or down week. It doesn't matter as long as you're putting in those inputs, and you're going to see them come to fruition. And you can do this in any market, any niche, whether you've been in business for 20 years or you've been in business like starting today, right? This is the way it can work. And so it's a lot of fun. And again, I can get more detail you want, but I didn't want to keep going there. Heidi, have you found the same thing when you've been out there in the market?
Yeah, you can keep going. No worries here. We got time. Yeah.
Well, so the easy path for me, and this is just kind of our framework that we look at, is we look at it in terms of stages. This would work certainly if you wanted to go direct to customer, but I do it on partnerships. And it's just, I start with meeting people, talking to them, finding out if we have a fit together, and then working with them. And the beauty of that is it's very simple and it's a principle. And that's honestly how all of life works, like for all of time. Again, do you want to start a relationship, for like romantic reasons? Do you want to start it? You want to start a business? Do you want to be a presenter? Do you want to get into a corporate job? Those are the stages, and we're just pointing it in the way that it makes sense. And we're, instead of focusing on the individual prospect, again, dirty term to me, we're going to partnership opportunities. And that's where the difference is. And that's why I call it the Force Multiplier Method.
Oh, it's a great name and it makes complete sense. I'm curious, I've had people on the show and I've heard this multiple times. You love LinkedIn. It's your favorite platform that you shared. Some people are really struggling on LinkedIn. It's not the platform is not what it's used to be, they say, and especially,
For good
I would
reason.
say since 2025, I think with the evolution of AI and AI coming on the scene, I've heard, oh, well, now everybody thinks they can write content and there's so much noise out there. So you loving LinkedIn, obviously it's working for you. So how are you utilizing your method and building these relationships and getting these conversations started on LinkedIn?
Yeah, the beauty of LinkedIn is that if you're using it the right way, you don't really to be, and again, I don't mean this negatively, you don't have to be like an influencer. Those are great things to do, and you can certainly be very profitable following kind of an influencer model on LinkedIn. I know a lot of people that's what they use it for. They put their content out there that way, or it's part of their content engine. I rarely have to put out content. I think it's an important thing to do, and if I were coaching myself, I'd say you should put out more content, right? It's a good thing to do to show people what you've got. But honestly, it's a way to really directly talk to people. It's a platform that was built for networking. It was built originally for corporate networking, for opportunities or finding your way up the ladder. And it still is that, even though it's being used a lot more for business now. And so if somebody's on LinkedIn, they're really usually willing to do at least one of two things. One is to make an introduction to somebody, because it's a networking tool, or they're willing to provide advice. And with that mindset, if you're going to somebody saying, hey, I want to find ways that we can help each other, right? It's really easy to do that. And again, you want to be clear about what you are. And all you have to do is set up your profile. And the way profiles are set up on LinkedIn is much more business centric. People can click on your profile and it's almost like a website or like a website funnel if you set them up the right way. So people can figure out exactly what you're about. You can showcase testimonials. You can, feature things. You can send them to your websites if that's what you want. So like, there's really not a lot of guesswork as long as you're willing to be transparent. And honestly, you don't even really need to post if you're willing to actually talk to people. I mean, there's its own inbox in there. They've got their own email system. So I think trying to use it like an influencer is really difficult. And again, it's a great thing to go do. But if you're willing to just go be direct to source, like cut out the middleman, hey, Heidi, I think that we could do business together. What do you think? Like, and then Heidi can say, I don't have time for you. And you'd be like, hey, God bless, right? Or, have a great day, whatever you would say to that. And then someone's like, hey, tell me more, right? And then we're having a conversation. It's no different than if I go to a business networking event and saying, hey, I'm Justin, here's what I do. Like, would you want to have a discussion about how we could potentially work together, or I'd like to learn more about what your clients want and see if I can help them. Would you like to learn about what my clients want and let's see if you can help them? It's no different, except we're doing it online, so we can do it a lot faster. The challenge is a lot of people want to use AI to do that, and AI is always going to get better, of course, but it still feels like AI. So in the age of AI, I'm going to dare you to be a human and actually talk to the people that you want to work with. And then you'll be very successful with it. So it's really, I think the biggest challenge is that people are overthinking it and just like, let's go back to basics. Go meet people, go talk to them, see if you can do work. Sure, put out some content. It's a good thing to do. You should do that if there's somebody who's providing value to the marketplace. But even if you didn't, like if you were just having honest conversations with people, you're going to be successful. And so, we can always tweak those and make things better, but just don't be a perfectionist. You said you were, we were raising our hands earlier about, right. If you might be a recovering perfectionist too, right? Let that go. Right. And go go forward through it. So yeah, LinkedIn's a great platform. Most people are willing to talk. It's used for business, so they're in business mindset. You don't have to share videos of your, of your animals, right? Or what you had for dinner, right? You could just really be down to business, which is awesome. And it can be a fun platform too, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that's what people are expecting. And so, yeah, I find it's really, really good. Plus, there's a lot of data out there to suggest that the average user like net worth is a lot higher on LinkedIn than it is on places like Facebook or Instagram. So it's a good place to be sourcing your network for all those reasons. I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said is true. LinkedIn, you can definitely be much more business oriented because that's what it's geared for. And you can also have a little fun. Like one thing about AI is it can't intertwine your personality into the conversation. So bring yourself to the conversation. And that's going to help you stand out amongst people, like other people who are looking to have a conversation or looking to sell. When my DMs are active and I'm getting a lot of inquiries, it's usually people trying to sell me something, and they'll lead with something like, I can get you more leads. And I'm thinking, well, how do you even know I need leads? You don't know what I need or don't need. So by you starting that in a different way of just building a relationship and being like, hey, let's chat about what you do, I do. Let's see if there's some synergy and how we can help each other. It's fresh and it's like, okay, let's do this. Like this is more of a
Mhm.
opening door and pathway where we can have a normal conversation. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I had somebody reach out to me and he's like, I'm just reaching out to people to connect. Now I know he wants to do business, but it's a different, and he's like, hey, if you want to chat, I'm looking to see how I can help you and vice versa. And let's have a conversation. I jumped on his calendar. I'm like, yeah, let's have a
Mhm.
conversation. You don't know what you don't know yet. And you never know what relationship or partnership this can create down the road. And it was a nice, refreshing thing in my DM versus, trying to sell me something. Um, so can you share with us, like, and you don't have to share a specific client's name or company name or anything like that, but can you
Sure.
share like a success story of someone you've worked with and what challenges they came to you with and what it looked like on the other side of you working together?
Yeah, I think that most people, again, they're just not sure of themselves. Most people, I find, they're really good at something, and if the marketplace needs it, right, they can have some success, but they don't necessarily have a system for it. So, social media, the one thing that most people, if they've studied it, understand is that it's an algorithm, and it rewards you for being on the platform, right? So you want to make sure that you're consistent in whatever you're doing on there. So I actually had a friend of mine. He was very good entrepreneur in his space. He wanted to kind of get into the coaching model of kind of sharing what he's learned for other people in his, and it was kind of a niche subject. So it was actually pretty easy to find his people when we think about that. But he didn't really have a coaching business, and I kind of knew things about that. I was like, hey, let me help you put this together. Um, and it's just as simple of like, hey, let's go find who that is. What are the things that matter to them? And then let's start putting that in front of them. Well, and he did that, going very successful. But as you know, again, that's direct to market, and it's a struggle to like doing like a discovery call or a strategy session with a total stranger. That's time consuming and taxing. And so we took the same process. He had a great coaching program that had generated results for people, had some success. And I said, hey, listen, well, who are the people that help your target market? And we just started looking for that. So he started targeting people who were helping them with their business systems, like your websites, tools, softwares, things like that. And like I think the first 5 messages he sent out, he got 4 responses, and he started building collaborations with them. And one of them, they didn't have like a massive following. They had like 2,000 people that they had on their list. And what they did was they built websites for these entrepreneurs in this space, and it was very specific to them. And so we just set up a deal and said, if we could help your people, we'd like to set up a collaboration with you and pay you a percentage for everybody that comes through. And we'll start with a little easy way for them to get started so they can get their test in there. So we just started with a little $100 product. He took one piece out of his coaching and made a little course with it. So out of 2,000 people, 185 people, which is not a lot, on the first time they put anything out together, decided to buy that. Well, that's like, you know, a little over $18,000 in sales,
Mm.
right? Just from one like email blast, right? And then
Wow.
everybody, they came in, they had a great experience, and a good number of them signed up and they just set up a deal. Well, he's got 185 new clients that have bought from him that to work with. The other collaborator has 185, you know, pieces of that sale. They all love it. They love his work, so they continue to work with him. And we're just repeating that over time. And so now I think he's grown his coaching community where he's got a recurring monthly, right, of like 490 people now, right, that he
Wow,
worked
that's
with. He
amazing.
doesn't even have to do like, you know, the big to do anymore. He just constantly has people coming in because it's included as part of these other partnerships now, and they see a little link. It's like a provider, and his business is growing without him promoting it at all.
Wow.
Right? He's just doing that now. He can, right? He does. He'll send out like one newsletter a month or something like that, you know, to people who followed him. But that's the way he's growing business, and that's a fun way. I had my a friend of mine, Martin. I say friend. Everybody I work with becomes my friend. But Martin, he didn't have any business. He was a younger guy. He wanted to start an agency. He wanted to learn about lead generation, and he'd bought some tools to do lead generation. And he wanted to help, and he had been trained in the financial services industry, so like, you know, financial advisors, things like that. And he's like, yeah, it's always a pain using their tools and, you know, having to do cold calling and things like that. So I wanted to do lead gen. He followed this exact process, and within 50 months he had 75 retainer clients that were paying him thousands of dollars per month each, right, to do their lead gen. And all he did was he did this process of reaching out to people who had his audience, sharing it with those people. Sometimes they were small, sometimes they were big, and all that business comes to him. And now he has, you know, a multi-six-figure lead generation agency just from doing this process. And again, it's just, you know, hey, can I go meet the people who have my people? That's it. That's all it is. And then just being the person who's brave enough to ask and say, hey,
Right.
can I help? Right.
Yeah.
And do that. And so there's lots of different stories like that. I've certainly used it myself to do this. That's how I was filling my events. Is like I didn't have a huge audience, so I would just go to people, big or small. I don't care if you've only got 100 Facebook friends. Let's just go promote it to them and see what we do. And so because I wanted to work, but I didn't want to be under the poverty line. You know, I wanted to do this, so I didn't care. I will do as many as I can. I'll go on as many podcasts, as many YouTubes. I'll just go live with you. And so it's the same process to do this. And most people want to help. We're all people pleasers, I think, for the most part at our core. And so if you come in and genuinely want to do something that's good for people, they'll want to help you.
Absolutely.
And certainly if you can make that profitable for everybody, win-win, right?
Yeah.
So that's the path to that. So there's a few examples. I could go into a ton of them, but that's the core of it. And it would work, I think, for anybody.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. It's nice to see kind of behind the scenes of how your people are making the method work and how you're supporting them in that. I ask my guests like what are you seeing out there visibility wise, marketing wise, that's helping you grow, but you've really shared that with how you coach your clients. So I would love
Go
to
talk to
know,
people.
yeah, talk to people. If I could hand you a magic wand, though, Justin, you can wave it over one challenge or issue you're having right now, and you in your business, and you can go poof, and it disappears, it goes away. What would that be, and why?
You know what? One thing I'm not particularly strong with, I do think that there's a lot of value in using tools like advertising. It's just not something that I've needed to do. So if I were going to wave a wand and say, hey, I had like an awesome performing ad that's bringing more people that I otherwise wouldn't reach, because listen, networking is great, but obviously you got to follow the network, right, to go do that. Whereas ads are going in front of a whole demographic
Right.
that do that, and they make lots of money doing it. And obviously, the challenge there is that you've got to put the money into the advertising first. I like my method because it's like paying for the ads only after they work.
Right.
Right. So, but that would be one challenge. That's something I've never really solved. That would be great to know.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
one thing I've always, when I was coaching, and I'm sure you tell your people this too, before you do ads, make sure that you're doing what you're doing. Grow organically. Build your business organically so you can really dial in your messaging. You can really know what offers work and what people are resonating with before you put that money into ads. And then if you may decide once you're doing it that you don't want to put money into ads. You don't want to take that revenue. You love the way you're doing it and you want to keep doing it that way. Ads is a great way to scale. But again, it's not for everybody. So, so thank you for telling
Yeah.
us that. And
No, it's a fantastic method. Clearly
yeah,
works, otherwise people wouldn't do it, right?
right.
And so, but there's a risk involved in doing it for sure.
Absolutely. You want to make sure you
And
have
those
somebody
risk in
that knows
everything
what
we
they're
do,
doing.
but yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. My
Yeah,
recommendation is go if you're going to do it, hire somebody who knows what they're doing and let them help
exactly.
you.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. True. I've dumped a lot of money into ads before, and I
Yeah.
wish I could turn back the time on that, but they definitely work. A lot of people are scaling and making a ton of money on
Mhm.
it. But one, grow organically first, know your messaging, know that your offer is repeatable and that it's viable. Make sure your offer is viable, and then hire somebody that knows what they're doing to do those. Um, I have some more questions, but I'm debating about because I'm looking at the time and I'm like, I want to respect your time. Um, Before I get to any more, I would so we make sure that we fit this in. Tell people how they can connect with you and reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it can be found on LinkedIn. That's the best place to connect with me. I'm in my inbox every day. And it's actually me when you talk to me. So it's not like an AI bot or a VA, because that's the fun part. And most people are. That's the other thing is there's no gatekeepers for the most part. So connect with me there. But honestly, if you really want to, this is the best thing I do. I have a little miniature training on how to use LinkedIn, and we have a private invite for a software we use that can kind of help you manage that to make it easier for you. And it's you can go to easylinkedintraffic.com. So that's just the letters EZ and then linkedintraffic.com. It'll be / BGS. So we know that where it came from. But we'd love to, share that with you. It's real easy, a good way to kind of dip your feet in there. And we have a whole little community that's built with it. So you can come in and ask questions and get actual support too. So it's not just hey, watch this video and you're on your own. So love to have you over there. That'd be a great way. Or you could just connect with me on LinkedIn. And again, you'll find me a link, I'm sure will be shared wherever this show is posted.
Yes.
So
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're watching Justin and I on YouTube, hi, thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you. If you know of anybody that would benefit from this conversation, if they're in business, they would benefit from this conversation because they're probably on LinkedIn. And if they're on LinkedIn, they want to make sure that they're utilizing it properly. Justin's your guy. So please share this episode with them. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, thank you. I appreciate you. And if you are so inclined and can leave a review, we would love it, preferably 5 stars. That helps the podcast platform push this episode and interview out to more people, which allows us to support Justin and being seen by more people and then learning more about him and his services. Make sure you go check out Justin on LinkedIn, connect with him there, send him a DM. Let him know you heard him here and go to easylinkedintraffic.com, easy, the letters, linkedintraffic.com /BGS. That stands for Business Growth Spotlight. We also will have the link inside of the show notes. I got that link right. Right, Justin? Correct?
yes, yeah,
Okay,
that's exactly
awesome.
it. And again, we'll make sure it's posted correctly.
Yeah. Yes.
As much as you're listening to this, if you're like me, you're probably driving while you're listening to
Yeah.
it.
If you're
So
driving, we got
just
you.
stop,
Yes.
stop and look at the description later and go grab
Yes.
that. And we'd love to have you over there.
Don't be driving and texting yourself and writing it down. I always text myself. I have my home. I text myself stuff when I want it. Don't be driving and texting it. We got you in the show notes. So don't worry. We got everything there. I've got Justin's bio and his all of his links and all the good things. So we make it super simple for you. Real quick, Justin, for those of you listening, if you are looking to, there's a lot of things happening. Justin mentioned AI, and before I let him go, I'm going to ask him how he's utilizing AI in his business. But there are a lot of things changing on the visibility front, which is where we support our clients in businesses. And we're hosting this event that's called that's how to be recommended by AI. Super simple. It's the title tells you everything you need to know. If you want to know how you can be recommended by AI, most people are no longer going to Google. They're no longer going to those search engines like they used to. They are now going to AI for recommendations and information on products and services, or they're having a challenge. They're asking questions around that, and AI is then recommending something to support them. So whether you're a local business, whether you're in the coaching space, whether you have a product, you want to know how you can be AEO optimized, then go join us for this event coming up, and you can go to what is it called? We just launched it, Justin. It's called, you can go to the link, becomeairecommended.com. Go there. You can learn more about the
Nice.
event and register. So
I'm gonna check that out
becomeairecommended.com.
for sure.
I blanked because I was thinking of your URL and I'm like, what's the URL? So make sure you join us for that. It's free. Come see us for 60 minutes. Justin, how are you using AI inside of your business?
Yeah, so I use the typical AIs that a lot of people are using, like ChatGPT and Claude. The best way that it's helped me, I mean, it's helped, to take away some of the busy work of like, so I can use AI tools to help me with my workflows and marketing and all that other stuff. But honestly, I think the biggest thing that AI has helped me with, and it's not 100% a replacement, but it gives you a good idea. I think a lot of times especially when I hear people like are starting a business, they get a little bit fearful because they don't want to look stupid. And so that will hold them back, and the perfectionist in them will stop them from taking their first steps. One of the things I like to use it for, and this really helps me, it gives me a lot of confidence, is I use it for market research, right? And so kind of similar to the way you were talking about AI can recommend you now. Yeah, it does that for me. But honestly, it just kind of helps me to like, hey, what are the things out there? Because obviously these are, large models that are taking information from all over the internet and all different resources and databases that people are already saying. So if I were going to break back into ads, that's probably the kinds of tools I would do with like, what's a high performing ad? But that's where I find it to be the most useful. It's easy for me to find, if I'm looking into a particular market, what are the things that they care about? What are they saying? What's their language? Where's the best resources to be able to partner with that and connect? Because again, I'm more of a partnership guy now. So like, hey, what's the good connection here? And that helps me have an easy message and a lot of confidence to go in when I'm actually talking to people. Again, don't let AI replace you, okay? Because that's how Skynet happened, right? But you can use it to help you go be the best version of yourself out there. And so I always find that that's helpful for people I'm working with. Like, hey, let's let the AI kind of give us a good idea, right? Like a 95% solution, then we can go out to the market and verify that, right? And so that's where I'm using it the most. I mean, I've got different, messaging models and things like that I'll use it for, but I try to, like I said, I want to be a human out there in the marketplace. So I try not to use the ones that are all % automated. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said like it's the best, it's showing you what some options are, doing the market research for you, helping you become the best, show up as the best version of yourself, but it doesn't replace you. And it's never going to replace that networking and those relationships being built. So when you're in the DMs, let it be you, like Justin's doing.
And I found this by DMs, Heidi means direct message.
Yes.
Just in case you've never DM'd someone before.
On the social media platforms,
speak.
your messages, it's called DM, or people used to call it PM. Now it's called DM. Yeah, I assume
it was
people
PM,
know.
then it was IM, now it's DM.
Yes, it always changes. Changes every day. Justin, thank you so much for your time, especially on a Friday afternoon. I'm gonna let you go, but don't leave yet. But I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna say goodbye to everybody on here. So thank you for your time. Is there anything that you want to say before I let you go that I didn't ask you or we didn't talk about today? We talked about a lot of good stuff.
I think we talked about a lot. I don't want to muddy the waters for everybody. Listen, what we talked about is 100% usable. You don't need to go and overthink it. Obviously, if you want some extra help, I can help you. I'm sure Heidi's got stuff for you. That's great. But the biggest thing I would say to anybody is just get out there and start doing it. And again, if we can help with that, awesome. But you don't need to do that even. You know what I mean? Just go start doing it. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot more, struggling with it even than you would just from trying to watch a course. So we have some shortcuts for you, but take what you've listened to and start implementing it, or find ways to implement it right away. Because that's going to be the thing that's going to help you the most.
Yeah. Those perfectionist word we used, don't do that because it'll hold you back. It held me back for years, and you don't want to waste years of your time building.
It's a silent killer for sure.
It is. So get messy, have some fun along the way, laugh at yourself. That's the way you're going to be successful. Yeah. And then take what you learn from what people are telling you, use what's useful for you, and take action, like Justin said. So thank you, Justin, for everything. It was all gold today. So grateful for you and your time. Thank you all for being here with us today. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlights.
Thank you, Heidi. It was awesome.